Viewers, the US has launched a deadly wave of airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen, and this comes after President Donald Trump had warned against using overwhelming lethal force, citing the terror group's repeated attacks on naval ships in the vital Red Sea corridor. Watch our report to know more on this.
US President Donald Trump has ordered a barrage of airstrikes on the Yemeni capital of Sana'a. This comes in response to the repeated attacks launched by the Houthi militia on American and Israeli naval ships. Amid the deadly aerial offensive launched by the US Air Force, at least 31 Houthi militia leaders have been killed and over 100 have been injured. Explosions have been reported in Sana'a and Sada, which are the stronghold regions of the Houthis. The Houthis have now vowed to fight back against the attacks. Condemning the offensive, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov slammed the US for the attacks, marking a significant military attack. After Donald Trump's resumption of presidency, US had warned against unleashing overwhelming lethal force against the terror group that launches attacks on naval ships passing via the vital business corridor of Red Sea. As the skirmish unfolds, Iran has rebuffed all allegations of being associated with the Houthis.
انصارالله به عنوان نماینده یمنی ها تصمیمات راهبردی و عملیاتیش را خودش اتخاذ می کند. جمهوری اسلامی ایران نقشی در تنظیم سیاست‌های ملی یا عملیاتی هیچ جریانی از جبهه مقاومت از جمله انصارالله یمن ندارد.
The US ambush also comes amid the backdrop of the Houthis repeatedly attacking Israeli naval ships.
Viewers, despite fierce resistance from within the United States, the Trump administration is continuing its deportation drive under the 18th Century Alien Enemies Act. In the later series of the deportation, the US has sent over 200 Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador, and this is done under a prison outsourcing scheme. But US will pay El Salvador to house what it calls alien enemy members. Venezuela is up in arms, but US and El Salvador seem to have reached a deal. Here's the full story.
US President Donald Trump's fight against illegal immigration continues despite opposition from the courts in the United States. More than 200 gang members of the Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan prison gang, were deported to El Salvador this weekend from the United States. Gang members shackled. Police in full riot gear hustling prisoners. El Salvador's government had a massive motorcade waiting to transport the prisoners. The gang members were seen kneeling on the ground as their heads were shaved before they changed into the white overall uniform of the prison. The gang members were taken to the Sea Court facility, a notorious prison in El Salvador, which is the centerpiece of Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele's push to crack down on gang violence in his country. Interestingly, the Trump administration has not identified the gang members or provided direct evidence of the fact that these deported prisoners are in fact members of the infamous De Aragua gang. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State of the United States, called the deportees, quote, alien enemy members. He further justified sending the members of Tren de Aragua to El Salvador by saying that they were sent to good prisons and that it will save a lot of US taxpayers' dollars at a fair price. Meanwhile, the government in Venezuela is not happy over the deportation row. In fact, they condemn the Trump administration's use of the 18th Century Alien Enemies Act. The Venezuelan authorities have called it the darkest episode in human history, comparing it to the horrors of Nazi-era concentration camps. Despite court orders to stop the deportation from the United States under the 18th Century Alien Enemies Act, Trump continues his war against, quote, illegal immigration.